बिहारी
जय राधा माधवा बिहारी
अज्ञानातिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Tadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeyam Shri Guru Shri Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijanasahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhamitanscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagapate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimade Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya 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 Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udire Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you very much. I think I'll put my silence on. Yeah, so thank you very much for joining. Srimeshwar Prabhu is not there, so he assigned the service to me. So thank you for the hosts. And today we will do a slightly different thing. What I plan to do is, do you have Bhagavad Gita copy?
Yes.
So what we'll do, Bhagavad Gita?
Gita.
Yeah.
Bhagavad Gita.
Or should I call on my phone or something? So what we'll do is, I know last time we spoke about 4th chapter in your home. So I will, their last 5 or 7 verses. So we'll start with 438. And then we'll just read the purport 438, the shloka and the purport. And then 438 to 442, which is the end of the chapter. I will summarize it on the board here. And then we will refer back to the purports or the shlokas wherever they have the reference. And then we will discuss, so I'm trying to make it short here on the board, but more discussion, that like that. So, but of course we will start with the 4th chapter, 38th verse to start with. Because this section is really, really important practically for all of us in our sadhana, so I thought maybe we can try that way. Everybody's ready? Do you have a copy? एक और 2 चाहिए शायद. शुरुआत करते हैं. नहि ज्ञानेन सदृशं पवित्रम् इह विद्यते तत्स्वयं योग संसिद्धः कालेनात्मनि विन्दति. नहि ज्ञानेन सदृशं पवित्रम् इह विद्यते तत्स्वयं योग संसिद्धः कालेनात्मनि विन्दति न हि ज्ञानेन सदृशं पवित्रम् इह विद्यते तत्स्वयं योगसंसिद्धा कालेनात्मनि विन्दति. Please continue.
न हि ज्ञानेन सदृशं पवित्रम् इह विद्यते तत्स्वयं योगसंसिद्धः कालेनात्मनि विन्दति.
न हि ज्ञानेन सदृशं पवित्रम् इह विद्यते तत्स्वयं योगसंसिद्धः कालेनात्मनि विन्दति.
नहि ज्ञानेन सदृशं पवित्रमिह विद्यते तत्स्वयं योगसंसिद्धा कालेनात्मनि विन्दति.
नहि ज्ञानेन सदृशं पवित्रमिह विद्यते तत्स्वयं योगसंसिद्धः कालेनात्मनि विन्दति.
Yeah, one Mataji, please.
2 to 4.
न हि ज्ञानेन सदृशं पवित्रम् इह विद्यते तत्स्वयं योगसंसिद्धः कालेनात्मनि विन्दति.
Okay, let's. So we'll go the word to word translation. Na. Nothing. He. Certainly. Jnanena. With knowledge. Sadrusham. In comparison. Pavitram. Sanctified. Iha. In this world. Vidyate. Exists. Tat. That. Swayam. Himself. Yoga. In devotion. Samsiddha. He who is mature. Kalena. In course of time. Atmani. In himself. Vindati. Enjoys. So purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. In this world, there is nothing so sublime and pure as transcendental knowledge. Such knowledge is the mature fruit of all mysticism. And one who has become accomplished in the practice of devotional service enjoys this knowledge within himself in due course of time. Somebody could read the purport, please.
Yeah, I can read. Purport by His Divine Grace Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. When we speak of transcendental knowledge, we do so in terms of spiritual understanding. As such, there is nothing so sublime and pure as transcendental knowledge. Ignorance is the cause of our bondage, and knowledge is the cause of our liberation. This knowledge is the mature fruit of devotional service, and when one is situated in transcendental knowledge, he need not search for peace elsewhere, for he enjoys peace within himself. In other words, this knowledge and peace culminate in Krishna consciousness. That is the last word in the Bhagavad Gita.
Alright, thank you very much. So this is what it is. Krishna, we all know that this 4th chapter when he began, it's all about the transcendental knowledge. So transcendental means which is not of this material world, not something that belongs to this body, this mind, the intelligence, something beyond, which is on the spiritual level. And that's called transcendental knowledge. And Krishna has been mentioning that when we get this knowledge, actually Srila Prabhupada, if you see the beginning of this, the index, you see the index here. So in the index, what Srila Prabhupada does is he gives a small paragraph for each chapter. So what he's mentioning that this transcendental knowledge, which is the spiritual knowledge of the soul, of God, and of their relationship, is both purifying and liberating. Such knowledge is the fruit of selfless devotional action, karma yoga. So those are the 2 lines that I wanted to bring your attention to. That this spiritual knowledge, I was saying before, it's not about the material world, but it's about the jiva, the soul, God, and our relationship with God. So that is the knowledge which is given in this 4th chapter particularly. And the outcome is that it purifies us and it liberates us. So what I'm going to do that in this, see in the 30th verse that we spoke just now, Krishna says that there's nothing more sublime, more pure than this knowledge of the soul, God, and our relationship. And this knowledge will come as a mature fruit of all your devotional practice. So, and then the other part is that one who has become accomplished in devotional service, they will enjoy this knowledge in the inside. And what will happen because of that enjoyment inside, we'll see in the coming verses. So what I will do, as I mentioned before, that I'm gonna summarize something on this as almost like a chart, because that will help us remember what it is, and then we will go back to the purport or the verses particularly to point out where they are talking about. And then at the end, what I want to do is, if the time permits, we will read the purport to the last verse, which is 42nd verse, because that is the summary of everything. But there's the time, right? So you can see the time. So I mean, bear with me because this is like something new I'm for too. I think one time I had done in your home, I remember the same thing.
Yeah.
Remember? But my whole thing is I have to make sure that you can see all. So first, what I'm going to do is Krishna starts with the sacrifices, right, in this chapter, and in the if you see the 42nd verse purport, Srila Prabhupada lists all those sacrifices. Okay, so I'm just going to read them. So these sacrifices could be the sacrifices to the demigods. So we have seen that people do worship of the devatas, and that is also a sacrifice. Sacrifice means something that you give away and give out as a voluntary inconvenience, but that always has a sublime, like a little higher purpose. Like the mother sacrifices for the child, so her sacrifice is above her. So similarly, somebody does the social work, that's above that person. So sacrifice also is above, right? Above something, that's a sublime purpose. So here in the previous chapters or in the 4th chapter, we spoke about when we worship Devi Devatas. So that's also a beautiful sacrifice. And then we also spoke about in this chapter, the sacrifice to Brahman, which is, we'll go into that. We don't have to go into the details because we already covered that. So sacrifice to the demigods or Devi Devatas, sacrifice to Brahman, sacrifice in celibacy, which the brahmacharis do, sacrifice in the household life, which all of us do, right? And then sacrifice in controlling the senses, sacrificing, practicing yoga, sacrifices in penance, which is voluntary inconvenience. You do vrata, you do puja, or you do upavas, all of those. And lastly, the sacrifice of the material possessions, when we do some donations or we give time for any services, that one. And then the sacrifices in study of the Vedas. And ultimately the sacrifice by following Varnashrama Dharma. So these are the different kind of sacrifices that Krishna has enlisted, especially in this chapter. So I'm going to start with the word sacrifices. Okay. And what Krishna is saying, that these could be of different types. Okay. So, and don't worry if don't see my writing, but we can talk about it later. Because I have to. Should I have written this earlier before coming here?
No, this is
Because
it's
I'll
very
save that
interactive.
time.
It's nice.
Yeah.
Okay, it's interactive. Okay. So one is karma kanda. Okay, so when we do sacrifices totally for our benefit, like I do this, I immediately have to get the benefit from that vrata. That's karma kanda. Then there is something called, you do selfless. Like you do donation, but you really don't expect anything back. So that's called nishkama. And then the one that especially Krishna is talking here are the sacrifices that are for the transcendental knowledge. So you do something, in devotional service. Your purpose is not to get anything in return, but to get the knowledge of self, God, and my relation. So that is called sacrifice for spiritual purposes. I want you to sit and listen to the class. Because it's, I know, we spoke about this, that's why. So this is the sacrifices for spiritual purposes. And that means to know to self, to know God, and to our relation. So that's a type of sacrifice. Okay, so what happens here? If only people do karma kanda, or if they do only sacrifices for their own immediate benefit, then it's a materialistic kind of thing, right? Because it does not immediately bring any spiritual progress. And that means there is ignorance of spiritual knowledge. Okay, ignorance of spiritual knowledge. And we spoke what spiritual knowledge, self, God, and relationship. So they lack this because they are only doing vrata for immediate, like give me money, give me good job, give me wife, give me children, all those kind of things. Okay, so there is no immediate spiritual knowledge in this. This leads to bondage. Bondage of what? Bondage of birth. Bondage of body. First of all, bodily concept, okay? Bondage into bodily concept, that me and mine, everything belongs to this body, and all the people around me who are related to my body or to me, that's all the central theme of our life. We never go beyond. So that's bondage. And also birth. It could be repeated birth in the human society, or it also could be lower birth if you do any other mistakes. Okay, so that's what the bondage is. Now, in this, also, there could be two separate, okay? So what happens, I think Krishna has explained that in the 3rd chapter, that over a period of time, even though this is not immediate spiritual knowledge, but people do progress gradually because they come in contact with the purohit, with the priest, with good people. When they're doing sacrifices, the demigods are happy with them. So there's some amount of faith that they develop in spiritual knowledge, or faith in the Devi Devatas, faith in the worship. But there could be people who also can get faithless because they are only doing it very superficially, and inside they don't have much faith. So that is the possible. And the problem is that they get faithless in Krishna consciousness. They could be very faithful in the Devi Devata worship, but they're not going towards Krishna consciousness. So that's how it is. And in the purport it said that for this purpose there is no permanent peace or joy, because people are hankering for, you could see materialistic objectives, they're hankering. Srila Prabhupada in the purport, the last purport, calls these people as fool number 1. That's not my words. Krishna Prabhupada is saying this kind of person is fool number 1, because you can see they are bound in the bondage, they are not progressing spiritually. Right? Now if we go on this side, this is very briefly I'll explain that this Nishkam Karma Yoga, when you don't really have any purpose in doing sacrifices, gradually over a period of time you would very quickly go in this direction of actual spiritual knowledge and spiritual progress. So let's go on this side, that when we start our sacrifices with our purpose to know transcendental knowledge, or not even not big words, but initially we just begin simply as I need to know about Krishna, I need to know how to do bhakti, stuff like that. So what happens in this, that immediately there is a process of liberation that starts. Okay, now what is liberation from? Same here, the bondage was in body and birth. Similarly here, the liberation is from the bodily concept of life. Like you realize, you detach from immediate hankerings, and also there could be liberation from lower births, because you gain some progress spiritually. So Krishna gives you opportunity in the next life to start your devotion wherever it ended, right? Like in the 2nd chapter, Krishna says, like, wherever you stop, I'll give you the opportunity to start. So that is the liberation, also taking you from lower birth, taking you away from lower birth. Okay, Now, when this is happening, Krishna says that do it under Guru's instruction with devotional activity. Okay, so 434. Krishna says that you surrender to Guru, you give a very humble service, and then you ask question humbly, and that's how you will get the knowledge. So Guru's relevance here when we start this route. And Krishna says immediately the sinful reactions will either stop or reduce. No sinful reactions, because we are on this line. Then Krishna says that joy and peace, they start coming to us. This is the beginning of Krishna consciousness, which is not only sublime and pure, because these are again Krishna's words in the verse, or we'll see in the purport, sublime and what is that? Pure, yeah. Just now I think we saw that's 438. We saw that it's purifying, it's liberating, so that thing. And this joy and peace is just the transition. But when this happens, you begin the Krishna consciousness as sublime and purity. There is another kind of peace, and that Krishna calls as the supreme spiritual peace. And that's even better, in terms of its grade. Supreme peace. Supreme spiritual peace, I could say. And this Srila Prabhupada mentions in his purport that you just now read as the final word of Bhagavad Gita. Final word of the Gita. Now, there is another part of it which is not necessarily in the purport, but I'm just going to add it here, is that all of this you'll see is based on the faith, like how much we develop the faith. We have faith here, but how do we go here to get faith in Krishna and faith in the spiritual knowledge, faith that this spiritual knowledge will purify and liberate me, that faith. So there has to be some eligibility to get that faith. Okay, so let's see the eligibility part. And so faith, I'm gonna make it interactive later on, but because you all will be able to share what do you mean by faith and how do you think, how much faith you had, and how do you develop your faith. But mainly, there is some faith that we bring together when we are born because of our previous activities. You are born in a particular family, you automatically start with some basic level of faith. Now, even at this stage, sometimes people can get distracted and they either lose their faith or reduce their faith. And because it's a choice what we do with our faith. We are born with that faith, level of faith, but what do I do with that faith? Either I can lose it, reduce it, or I can increase it. So this is losing, this is increasing, and that's as a choice for us. Increase faith. Okay, now how do we increase the faith? That's a big question, because it's easy to say increase your faith. How do you do that? So for that, we are going to look at 439 purport, but just in general, I will tell you there are 4 ways, 1, 2, 3, and 4. One is the one that we spoke about just now, gain knowledge. Gain knowledge means study Shastra. Study Shastra. Number 2 is your association and observation. How do you observe the devotees? How do they increase the faith? How do they practice the faith when they're in difficult time? The third one is the prayer or Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. And the fourth one is the service. That is also spoken in 434. So this is the bigger picture. And this summarizes not only the last part from 38 to 42, but also summarizes a very important topic of how, when we want to progress in devotion, in bhakti, how important is the knowledge, how important it's to have a proper knowledge of Shastra. It's not, Prabhupada says 2 things. He says you just have knowledge of the Vedas and the Shastra, but you don't have melted heart for Krishna. Then it becomes a dry philosophy. And you do only rituals only because you're supposed to do it, then you don't have knowledge. And then you lose, you kind of reduce your own speed of progress. So balance has to be there. Prabhupada says it has to be balance. And in this also it's highly emphasized by Krishna himself that we have to have these two things parallel, your bhakti and your knowledge. And knowledge is very, very important. Shastra is very important. So we're going to take a look at this. Either what I can do is now I can tell you where I find these in the purports and verses as references, or we can just open up for a discussion, whatever you suggest.
So just one question. So in this path, this is without Guru, right?
This one?
Yeah, this path is without Guru.
No, this is without Guru. This with
This
Guru.
with Guru and this path is without Guru.
No.
Okay, this still okay.
No, because here you're eligible. How do you become eligible for that spiritual knowledge gaining? Either you're born with the basic faith, then you either lose faith or increase faith. So increase faith with Guru is here, 434. Yeah, so maybe I'll quickly mention the references, or you want to start discussion? Tell me more.
You can quickly mention.
Okay, so I'll tell you where. Okay, so sacrifices, I told you that it's in the purport to 442. Okay, now in the same purport, Srila Prabhupada talks about this materialistic. I can give you later on the actual references also, right? Later on the paper if you want. Then again, I think this whole thing is from the purport to 442, so you can easily skip that one. There's also faithlessness, this part, faithlessness, that comes from 440, because there's a particular verse that talks about faithlessness. You want to refer to it just now quickly? Like ashraddha dhananscha samshrayatma vinashyati nayam lokosti na paro na sukham samshrayatmana. If you see verse 40, it says that for those who there is no faith, ignorant and faithless people who doubt the scriptures do not attain God consciousness and they fall down. For the doubting soul, there is happiness neither in this world nor in the next. So this is from that verse. Then the end point, fool number 1, Prabhupada calls this. It's in the purport to 442. If you go on this side, how you start is also mentioned. This is 434. I already mentioned here 434. Then the joy and the peace part, it's actually the one that we read just now, 438. We read the purport right now. So that joy and peace part comes from there. And supreme spiritual peace and this final word also 439. And more or less you'll see that this 438, 439, 440 and 441 and 42 all are covered here. So so let's discuss this, right? So what do you think? Was it too complicated or was it too much for you? I'm doing it for like an experiment, so I'm not sure how it was.
It's good to memorize. So.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So tell me your experience about. Let's start with your faith. Give me some experience about your faith, how you felt you developed it or reduced it, or what was the procedure that you felt, okay, 5 years ago my faith was there, now it's here or here, and what happened? Would you like to share something?
Yeah, so I actually started my journey in Krishna consciousness 5 years ago. And so my family, like you said, was already spiritual. But like sometimes you don't know why you're doing what you're doing. So everything, Lord Krishna was there, everything was there. My parents are of the nature that they don't ask questions, they just have faith. But I didn't know the science behind it. and then I came into contact with Srila Prabhupada, the science of self-realization. Slowly by slowly, I don't even know how I reached the level where, now it's to the point where before you're always asking for something or the other, and now you reach a point where you come to the temple, you do things, and there's no questions, you just submit, So yeah, so
That's beautiful because it sounds like you were exposed to all the devotional atmosphere, but you didn't understand the logic behind it, like
Right.
why I'm doing what I'm doing, right?
Right.
And that you probably got, you said, by reading Prabhupada's books.
It's all his books, correct? Yes.
So that's a great example for all of us, like even for our children, like definitely when they grow up in this, especially this time and country, children will do when they're 7, 8, 10 years old, they will do nicely, everything, whatever you say. But then as they go into their teenager years, then they sometimes become a little bit rebellious because they start asking questions and they see the outside world and they come in home. So that's the time when if you as parents are able to explain to them logically why we are doing what we're doing, tell the meaning behind our rituals, then their faith will increase. Otherwise they will go here. They are born with the faith, but then they are not able to keep up with the faith. They will lose the faith. So that's why as parents it's very important that we have the knowledge so we can explain it to the children. So that's a great example. Thank you. Anyone else?
And also, I want to say that with faith, we also change. Like I've seen how I was, like so many years back. With we all have anger and so many things. So with the difficult situations, we know how to handle them, and so many things. So with faith and with understanding that this is our karma, and we are just getting what our karma is. So we know how to handle things that way. And also I feel knowledge is so important because before getting deities at home, I was trying to understand, about deity worship and everything. And Srila Prabhupada said in his class that if with deity worship, if you don't hear or read, then eventually what will happen is the deities would feel like they are just stone and marble. Only with knowledge, only with reading and understanding is you start developing the relationship with the Lord.
Oh, so beautiful.
So
That's a beautiful meaning of deity worship you
Yeah.
mentioned. Oh, that's great.
so
And I think you are talking about this, the joy and the peace.
yeah,
When you reduce the anger
yeah.
or lust, anger, greed, pride, envy, illusion, hatred,
Yeah.
all those shadripus we
Yeah,
call,
yeah.
and you said you experienced them going down.
You start loving everybody rather
Yes,
than
loving
hating
everybody,
or
yes.
judging.
Absolutely,
Everybody.
100%.
Yeah.
And that's the part of joy and peace that starts in Krishna consciousness.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Just
Thank you for sharing that experience of joy and peace. And just observation, analysis of your own self. You look back and see you and
Yeah.
because you don't have
10
to,
years back.
your husband or wife, they don't have to judge you, but you judge yourself.
Yeah. That's the best is to judge yourself rather than judging others.
Absolutely, 100%,
Yeah.
because you will tell yourself how you felt.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's great experience with peace, joy, and the you feel pure because you don't have that much of anger or lust or greed, so you feel definitely pure. And also less attached. I mean, I don't know if anybody will talk about the attachment, detachment. Like do you develop detachment when you have knowledge?
Also, one more thing is you don't want to go to the mall to feel happy.
Right, your inner
Just
source
feel
of
happy inside. Yeah.
That's great. That's great. You go.
It goes with you are not body,
Uh-huh.
you are soul, right? That itself says that you can leave your body any point in time. That itself is detachment,
Mhm.
right? So you keep in mind, I have bank balance, I have this house, I have everything, but I can lose it any point in time. So that's where you start detachment.
Mhm.
But you have to still, you have to have your own responsibility. You have to, go with that and all.
Yeah. So inner detachment, you're talking about inner detachment comes like outwardly you will do everything that's needed. Go to office, on money, save, take family on vacation, whatever it is. But internally you said you're developing the detachment. I'm not this body. This is not permanently given to me. That kind of feeling, right?
But the problem is that we forget it.
Huh?
We forget it.
You forget it. Yeah, absolutely. You go into attachment. That's how it's gonna come.
That's how Mataji is here to remind us.
So we definitely need the association and the service
Yeah.
attitude and all.
Yes, detachment is not easy for any of us because we are all grasthas. So
I think so Friday and Sunday is a very good way to remind. Friday Bhakti Vriksha and Sunday going to the temple is a very good way to remind us the whole week. I always say that this both is like a vitamin pill for me. It takes me for the whole week, you know. If I
Yeah.
don't come on Friday or Sunday, it's like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm so down the whole week.
that's good. I mean, Friday and Sunday, of course, good. But the detachment, and you're saying like how you go back to your attachment, that happens during the week.
During the week, yes.
Right?
Yeah.
That happens when we are in our kitchen, when you are in your living room, when you take decisions, when you react to our other family members' behaviors. That's the time when your detachment can come up. So so that's an important point, that we have to practice that detachment. I'm wondering, where is that fitting in the detachment?
Is that the bondage, Mataji?
Yes, it can be in the bondage, like bondage in attachment, and here liberation from attachment. Bondage in attachment and liberation from attachment.
And liberation.
Yeah, and again, we have to analyze ourselves every day, how much I am progressing on the path of detachment, how much I'm going back. And it happens very well with the children, because our attachments are most with the children. We can say, I don't want to go mall, fine, whatever, but when it comes to children, it's a real test of our attachment or detachment. Yeah.
So Mataji, what is the theme? What exactly gives us all these things?
So the theme is this, the final word. Srila Prabhupada says the final word is that you have to balance knowledge and devotion, or ritual. If you do just ritual without knowledge, it's not helpful in the longer run. And it's not just the ritual, but the supreme spiritual peace. If you want to really feel that, you have to have proper knowledge of the Shastra. And because once you have the knowledge, you will apply it.
That's how the 39 sloka says. Shraddhavan
Yes.
Jnanten.
Yes.
Means once you
Shraddhavan.
are a faith,
Yeah.
once you have a faith in the Sadhu, Shastra and Guru, that's how the knowledge comes. So first qualification is we have to be a full faith in the Shastra.
Yes. But full faith in Shastra is not enough, because you have to read the Shastra
Yeah.
and study it systematically. So systematic study and systematic hearing will take you deeper into the Shastra. So that's how we have the Sangha here, so we can do some systematic study of the Shastra. So you were saying about 39, right? Like a faithful person who is dedicated to transcendental knowledge and who controls senses is eligible to achieve such knowledge.
Yeah. Shraddhavan labte jnanam.
Yeah. So Shraddha is the foundation, but as I said here, either you can increase it, that's your choice. You increase the Shraddha by doing Guru Sadhu Shastra practice, studying, and then you become eligible to such knowledge, and having achieved it, this person quickly attains the supreme spiritual peace, which we mentioned here, supreme spiritual peace. But if you do not have faith, or you do not develop the faith as your choice, then Krishna says that you will doubt the scriptures. You will always argue, you will not understand the deeper meaning of Shastra, you will not see how in practice it's actually bringing you peace, all of that. And because what will happen, that in due course of time you will go into this bondage to body, bondage to birth. And for the doubting soul, there is happiness neither in this world nor in the next. That is the outcome of the faithlessness. But on the other side, one who acts in devotional service, renouncing the fruits of his actions, and whose doubts have been destroyed by transcendental knowledge, is situated factually in the self, and that person is not bound by the reactions of work. So this is you first stop your sinful reactions, and that way you situate in the knowledge that I am not the body, I am the soul, and that way you will be able to destroy the doubts with the help of knowledge, and that's how also we'll gain your faith. So it's very important. 41 and 42, Krishna speaks about you destroy the negativity in your mind about Shastra with the help of knowledge. So once you have, because that's how he instructs Arjuna in the 42nd, the last verse, that the doubts that are arising in your heart, which are because of ignorance, and we saw the ignorance here, right? This is the ignorance part. They should be slashed with the weapon of knowledge. And when you are ready with this weapon, armed with yoga, you stand and fight, which means the point is when we have this knowledge, the whole most important point is that we use the knowledge to do our duties in Krishna consciousness, not just do our duties for making the children best educated, sending them to college, marrying them, then taking care of the grandkids. That's one part, but here Krishna is saying stand and fight. For us, that translates that we do our duties in Krishna consciousness, detachment, feeling peace and happiness, not hankering for worldly things, and feeling this supreme spiritual peace. All of that translates to us as stand and fight. So this is very important, that knowledge we are emphasizing only because we are going to use this knowledge to make our lives spiritual, so that we can actually progress. And for that reason, the two shlokas that we usually sing almost every day in our prayer, they somehow relate to this beautiful concept. The first shloka talks about asking Krishna or requesting Krishna to give us that loving devotional emotion. And the second shloka will talk about asking Krishna to give us the knowledge. So those first, give me bhakti, give me knowledge, both those shlokas, So the first shloka is that Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaurapachena. So we are requesting Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that just because how you came to manifest this devotion, please give me that devotion. And the second shloka is Namo Brahmanya Devaya, Go Brahmana Itache, Jagadhitaya Krishnaya Govindanandini. Because here Brahman, Namo Brahmanya Devaya. So Brahman means one who is seeking the knowledge. And that's why when we say this shloka, we are requesting Krishna that please give me the knowledge. So bhakti and knowledge. So and Krishna says, before 38, he says that no problem, you could be on any of these stages. You just sit in the boat of knowledge. That's what analogy he gives, that api chedsi papebhya, right? Even if you are considered like not a great person in spiritual understanding, but when you are situated in the boat of transcendental knowledge, then you will be able to cross over the ocean of miseries. So this jnana plavena, plavena means the boat, and jnana, in the boat of knowledge. You sit in the boat of knowledge, and then you will be taken to bhakti, and that will be really meaningful at the end of the day. And that is, Prabhupada says, the final word of the Gita. As per the purport we saw, is the final word in the Gita. You have knowledge, you apply the knowledge, you progress in bhakti, and then you help others understand the knowledge and remove their doubts. Because then people will, especially our kids, our family members will come to us with doubts. Or they will not come to us with doubts, but they will discourage us because they have doubts in their hearts. So when they act, that affects us. Whether we want it or not, it does affect us, because that's the association, right? But how do we defend that while keeping the relationship, while doing all the duties? Because most of you are very fortunate that both husband and wife, but there are cases where only husband is doing, only wife is doing the bhakti, right? So in that case, this knowledge is very important, because that is your rock inside. You hold on to that. Outside can happen anything. Your relatives may be doing all kinds of politics, and there may be estate-related problems, whatever. But you have the very inner support and inner strength. That will come with knowledge, with the knowledge of Shastra and systematic study of Shastra. Otherwise, people may say, oh, I'm in Krishna consciousness for 20 years, fine, that's okay, but sometimes I lack this part.
I hear that a couple of people in temple, they are in the Krishna consciousness from last 20 years, but they are not progressing, they are at the same level.
You will see those kind of cases, yes.
Mataji, I think like when I've tried with friends and other people, getting somebody to go from the left to the right is so difficult. And even like we say that give them prasadam or get them to chant, they will not even do that.
Yes.
So you're just
That's because of this lacking faith. And they are not this time because they don't have enough.
right.
First of all, they don't have enough deposit from their past life.
Right.
And second, they choose not to go. There are two things.
Right.
So faith is a lot of choice.
Yeah.
So you will see sometimes people are not very bringing a lot of faith from their previous life, but they are ready
Right.
because they choose. So what's your point?
No. That's what I was saying. It's just, it's even if you show them like something from the Gita or something, right? They will not believe that. One person asked me that, hey, how can you prove that Krishna spoke the Gita? So I'm like, okay, I'm done. What can I tell you, at that point?
Right. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, even that was my question. If for a faithless person, what do you do? Like they're not eligible, and you're saying that the choice is that they don't want to believe.
Yeah, so in the 18th chapter, Krishna says that you do not go after them. You
And
tell
not
them
go-
once, and if they don't, then just leave them. That's what Krishna says there. I don't remember the verse number.
Mataji, we read 6 Shastakam every day in the morning.
Hmm.
You are not supposed to give this Krishna consciousness to the faithless person. That is aparad.
10 offices.
That is offenses.
Offenses, yeah.
We are not
Then-
supposed
Yeah,
to do
offense,
that.
not Krishna from offense, yeah.
Yeah.
But very important that we do not judge people just because they said I don't want. You don't judge them right at that point. Otherwise, like whatever you said, then you start judging them. Oh, they must be fallen. They must be coming from a very low birth or whatever. No, we don't judge them because we don't know their journey. They may be at this point today. Tomorrow they may turn. You never know.
And
So
they
we
might be a
don't judge.
better devotee than us.
Yeah, you never
never
know.
know.
You never
Yeah.
know their journey, their plan, how they are going.
So what do we do?
We do our part. We give them, as he said, we give them the Krishna consciousness, and just wait and watch. You tell them a couple of times, but if you see that they are offending, stop there. Maybe try after 2 months, but again, if the same experience, just keep them. Don't go that way. That's it. Because Krishna very specifically tells us here that you do not do that. Can somebody find that verse? Must be somewhere in the middle because
I think it's last.
last couple of verses.
I think it's 18.
So 1867, this confidential knowledge may never be explained to those who are not austere or devoted or engaged in devotional service, nor to one who is envious of Krishna. So all those you can experience and decide that's not the way to go. But honestly, in my experience, it's very difficult to quickly judge people whether they are ready or whether they are sinful or this or that. Because sometimes very well-to-do people, they will not accept. But people who are from lower, say, financial strata, or people who are not very pious, you will find them ready. So that's how Prabhupada did his work, right? When he came, who had faith? Nobody had faith, but he was able to pick those souls and do it. So for us also, we should not say only, okay, must be a person of reasonable social status, so that must be a faithful person, and the person who is not a India-born body or another color body. So that's not true. It will not necessarily. I'm saying.
For example, in Vrindavan, if you see mostly who look like paupers, they are the best, the most like good devotees of the Lord. So
Yeah.
not necessarily the.
Srila Prabhupada have created, when he established ISKCON, there are different kind of ministries. So there's something called prison ministry, where, we preach to the prisoners by sending them books. And it's an amazing experience because you feel, oh, prisoner, oh, is that? But you will, it's completely opposite experience, because only those who are interested and they have some faith background, they will pick those books from that library and start corresponding. I'm not saying out of 100 everybody, but out of 100 maybe one. That person will pick this because of that faith part, and that person has no background. if you see externally, really want to judge that person. No. But as opposite to that, if you're very well-to-do people, you tell them 100 times, they will not come.
I had the same question.
Do you actually go and see them?
No, I don't see. I don't go.
I mean, not.
No.
Only we correspond. No, nobody. No, people go. There are people who, but we don't have prisons close by. So even if I want to go, like it's like a 3 hours drive. I don't know.
What do you mean?
July.
So we.
Yeah,
There are local prisoners, prisons. I mean, not prison.
Here in New Jersey, yeah, maybe. Yeah, but
Jails, like
yeah,
prisoners. Maybe not.
yeah, but no, I haven't in person. But we only correspond, and sometimes
Correspond how?
correspond through mail, writing letters. Nowadays, prisoners have emails, so we do that through. And sometimes I give them my voicemail, voice phone, Google Voice phone, and I do talk to prisoners on the phone also. Yeah, so
Do you
that's.
think because of the crime they do, they have faith? It's like they, I don't know.
See what happens. The modes of nature. So but the modes of nature are not constant. That person did some crime in mode of ignorance, and that doesn't mean that he or she will remain in mode of ignorance all the time. They have ups and downs and mistakes. We all do mistakes, but it's only the I would say the magnitude of mistake is different. Magnitude is different, but the category is the same. We all do mistakes. We all have imperfect senses. We don't have sense control. They have done something in a very high magnitude in a very short time because of their baggage. But that does not mean that they are 100% like that. So that's my experience. So yeah.
I've heard about cases, people, the prisoners who read a lot of spiritual books, they come out as real good people and devotees, they become devotees
Yes.
and all this.
There have been cases like that.
There have been cases like that.
Any other thoughts on this? Anybody experienced in the previous years about getting stuck in this materialistic karma kanda sacrifices and not being able to see how they move to Krishna consciousness? Any experiences on that?
I
You
myself.
have?
So like a couple of years ago when my parents wanted me to do like kirtan, I was like, why are they asking me to do kirtan? Like I don't want to do it. Like they're like forcing this on me. And I started going to classes and like I learned the basics, but I just stopped doing kirtan after a while. And then now like I see like after Kirtan Love Fest, like I saw so many devotees like coming together, like all happy and everything, doing kirtan. That just like opened like something for me, and like that made me realize that kirtan can't be like bad, like if it's not forced on you. So
So I guess this is the part, association and observation that you did, and that transformed your heart.
Yeah,
Right? Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. 100%. How about this? We are trying to increase the faith by prayers and Hare Krishna mantra. So I think for that, there is a purport by Srila Prabhupada, 439 purport. I'll just read that. Huh? No, that's okay. No. 439.
You can use both hand Mataji for book.
Yeah, so in 439, Prabhupada says, okay, I'll read the whole thing. Such knowledge in Krishna consciousness can be achieved by a faithful person who believes firmly in Krishna. One is called a faithful man who thinks that simply by acting in Krishna consciousness, he can attain the highest perfection. This faith is attained by the discharge of devotional service and by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, which cleanses one's heart of all material dirt. Over and above this, one should control the senses. A person who is faithful to Krishna and who controls the senses can easily attain perfection in the knowledge of Krishna consciousness without delay. So here Prabhupada is pointing out to this part, which is prayer or Hare Krishna mantra chanting. That's a big factor in increasing our faith. So yes, knowledge is also, we talked about the knowledge, but there are other aspects. Other than knowledge, there's association, there is prayer and Hare Krishna mantra, and most importantly, the service to Guru. or service to people who are spiritually advanced, because you can ask them questions, you can get guidance from them, and you can serve them. You can promote their goal, and that way you will get blessing. So again, right now we spoke about main about the role of knowledge that plays in increasing our faith or Krishna consciousness, and that always also another aspect of grace or blessings from Krishna, from our previous acharyas, from Srila Prabhupada, so that blessing comes, then we are not actually struggling everything on our own. There is a part that we do, and then there's the grace or blessings come from above, and then that's how we can go. But if we don't do our part, we say, oh no, the Ashirvad will come, but I'm not really doing anything with the Shastra, then it will not work. So it's like, again, a parallel journey. You do your part, you get the blessings from devotees, you do blessings from Hare Krishna Mahamantra, you serve the Guru, you get the blessings from the Guru. That's how beautiful it is. But it's, yeah.
Mataji, one question. So when we don't read Shastra very scrutinizingly, and then it is easy that other, Christianity or Mohammedan, different Islam, they will come and easily influence us.
Absolutely, 100%.
So once we are very firm in our understanding about the Shastra, then only we can defeat them, or we cannot let them take over us.
Absolutely, a very, very important point you raised. Extremely important point. It's not just, as I mentioned before, our children, we have to respond to our children, but this is a great point. And we have seen cases.
And not only Mataji, in society, they came to my doorstep so many times.
Yes.
And when I talked for a couple of hours, they said, okay, we'll come later. Never came. But different people came. But so many times it happened to me.
Yes, that
when they took my Bhagavad Gita and they said that I will also read this.
That's good. Yeah.
So I don't know if they read really or not, but they took it from me. So
that's
I
great.
said, okay, fine.
That's great. That's what you did. That's wonderful. So that's very important, yes.
And as you were telling that part, Karma Kanda, so before coming to Krishna consciousness, I was doing only Mangal every Tuesday. I used to fast, do very religiously. But before that, I was doing Lord Shiva's. I was very, so early morning getting up, just giving her water, and then whole day I was free. That's how I see that those pious credit and all that take me to the Krishna.
So this is the part.
Yeah.
You go from here to there, right? That's beautiful. That's a great journey.
So that's somehow
So
it
you have a part of this, and then you chose to increase.
Yeah.
You
So,
definitely are born with a good karma, good pious activity.
yeah, and faith. My faith is always very firm.
Okay. Of course.
Of course.
That's how you raise your family in such a beautiful way. No, that you sometimes you don't see that, but it's very, very important. Especially the head of the family, how can they influence? It's very important. For women, it's they can, but it's a little tougher. But if it's the father is following, it's very easy.
I just want to tell about the Mahamantra. If you can just give some more examples. Like I have so much faith in Mahamantra. Like whenever I'm not in a good mood, I just chant. So if you want to just a little bit about Mahamantra, so all this
Yeah.
benefited from it.
Glories of Mahamantra, or
Glories
importance
of
of
the
Mahamantra in this age of Kali Yuga,
Yeah.
because our mind is
chant
always
every
polluted.
day, but sometimes when we're really in the need of chanting, that time whatever chanting, it's actually very quality one. So if you want to just put little bit.
So I'll tell you my journey. Of course, we read in Prabhupada's books so
Mataji,
many times
sweet.
that Hare Krishna Mahamantra, what effects. But that's also a little journey to develop faith in Mahamantra. And for that, I was using 2 or 3 books, I would say, or 4 books actually. So again, it comes to knowledge part. You gain knowledge about Mahamantra. So then you can develop more. So one is the Harinam, what's it called? Harinam Chintamani, or one that's Bhaktivinoda Thakur wrote. Harinam Chintamani. Harinam Chintamani. That gives you beautifully the how the whole journey can happen. The other one is a book written by Mahanidhi Swami called Art of Chanting Hare Krishna. The third one is Sachidanand Swami's the waves of Harinam or something, right? The waves of the holy name. That one. There's also Narada Sutra I read. Then the King Kulashekara's Mukundamala Sutra. So these 5 books, I would say, they actually help me understand deeply what's Mahamantra, how it can make effect, or what mistakes I'm doing, all those things. So again, it comes to no shortcut.
Amrita Prabhu always talks about Mukundamala Sutra.
Yes.
Always since childhood he's been reading.
It's
Because
one
I
of
think you
the
get it on Amazon also.
What?
That book.
Yeah, you can get it. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Temple also can get it.
You have translations of that book, not just English. So I'm saying that gradually, again, the same process. You observe people like those who are doing Mahamantra very sincerely and they're progressing. You see them, you ask them questions, and then you read books about Mahamantra. And then
I've seen that they do a lot of reading. Who has a very good faith. They do a lot of reading.
yes.
That's the reason they have that much faith in
Yes.
Mahamantra.
And I mean, also it will help if you say really like focus on the most essence of what Mahamantra is. Like one is that Krishna is present in his name. So I we could tell ourselves, like, I need to develop that faith that I'm chanting, actually Krishna is present. So you need to tell your mind that again and again.
So how do we do that practically? I know we hear this all the time. There is no difference between Krishna and his holy name. We chant, and it's like also I heard from Govindanandini Prabhu that when you're chanting, it's like Krishna is sitting on a tongue. So how he did the subdue Kaliya, that's how Krishna will just subdue our enviness and everything. But it's all theoretical right now. It's not practical. So how do we do that?
So I mean, one way is every night you analyze yourself, ask yourself, how was my chanting, and where was my mind? How much did I divert or get distracted, and why did I get distracted? And tell your mind and ask your mind, how much faith do you have or you don't have. Have a dialogue with your mind and analyze, because self-analysis is very important. You want to progress in any direction, self-analysis. Nobody else is going to analyze you. And if they do, you don't like it. You won't like it. If you do it yourself,
We
you'll do
don't
it.
even know the whole part of it because internally we know what we're thinking.
Exactly. It's your internal and you have to analyze. So that's how it becomes 24/7, Krishna consciousness, because your mind is always wondering, when I done a mistake, where did I do the mistake? Why did I go back to my anger or what other feelings? Ask.
Self-introspection.
Yeah, so introspection is very
I
important.
believe my chanting is like when I chant, I do service to Krishna.
Uh-huh.
That way I get connected easily. So
Very true.
that practice, that really helps.
Yes.
For anyone who want to get connected, while chanting, do service to Krishna. There's so many ways you can serve.
Beautiful. It's a service to
That's
Krishna.
I really like the way
That idea, yes. And you practice that
that I
to
do
develop the
practice.
faith, yeah. Beautiful. So you will find your own particular, things. So the books help a lot. They help a lot. I mean, personally, I felt really a very good transformation when I read those books. And I keep reading them. It's not one time because you forget, so you have to read again. But I can lend you those
If you
books.
can send that list of the books, because
Yeah, I will.
somebody told me before you start chanting, because I have the art of chanting from Mahanidhi Maharaj, at least read a paragraph before you start chanting.
Yes.
So you have how important chanting is.
Yes.
Don't waste that 1.5 hours.
Yeah, sometimes even if you feel distracted, just open any verse and just read that verse and then go back to your chanting, because that also helps. So that book will talk about these techniques.
Also share that so that that's
Yeah.
a good idea. We just read a little bit and then we chant and give us more.
Just a little word of caution that with that Mahanidhi Swami's book, Art of Chanting Hare Krishna, the later section, it talks about Radha Krishna's Leelas, and if you feel they are not ready, don't do that part. Don't read
Maybe
that.
Sachidanand Maharaj.
That is a very good
I
book.
heard lot about that book. So
Yes, that is a very good book.
Yeah.
Because there are verses about Mahamantra, like how Mahamantra is sublime. There are Sanskrit verses written by Goswami or from other Upanishads also. So those verses will also help strengthen your faith. So, I'm going to stop because I don't know how much time you have. You can stop. Anyone else has the last comment question? I think we can stop after that. Or you want to read the purport actually, the 442? Because that 442 purport will have everything that we spoke about. Yeah, okay, sure. Okay, maybe we can take turns. Maybe anybody can read, yeah. Okay, read the translation and then, maybe translation and a few lines, and then another person will read the rest of the purport.
Okay. Therefore, the doubts which have arisen in your heart out of ignorance should be slashed by the vapor of knowledge. Armed with yoga, O Bharata, stand and fight.
Continue, Pujji.
Purport. The yoga system instructed in this chapter is called Sanatana Yoga, or eternal activities performed by the living entity. This yoga has two divisions of sacrificial actions. One is called sacrifice of one's material possessions, and the other is called knowledge of self, which is pure spiritual activity. If sacrifice of one's material possessions is not doubted for spiritual realization, then such sacrifice becomes material. But
this part. Yeah.
But one who performs such sacrifices with a spiritual objective or in devotional service makes a perfect sacrifice. When we come to spiritual activities, we find that these are also divided into two, namely understanding of one's own self or one's constitutional position, and the truth regarding the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
The one who follows the path of Bhagavad Gita as it is can very easily understand these two important divisions of spiritual knowledge. For him, there is no difficulty in obtaining perfect knowledge of the self as part and parcel of the Lord, and such understanding is beneficial for such a person can easily understand the transcendental activities of the Lord.
In the beginning of this chapter, the transcendental activities of the Lord were discussed by the Supreme Lord himself. One who does not understand the instructions of Gita is faithless, and is to be considered to be misusing the fragmental independence awarded to him by the Lord. In spite of such instruction, one who does not understand the real nature of the Lord as eternal, blissful, all-knowing personality of Godhead is certainly fool number one. Ignorance can be removed by gradual acceptance of principle of Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness is awakened by different types of sacrifice to the demigods, sacrifice to Brahman, sacrifice in celibacy, in household life, in controlling the senses, in practicing mystic yoga, in penance, in foregoing material positions, in studying the Vedas, and in partaking of the social institution called Varnashram Dharma.
All of these are known as sacrifice, and all of them are based on regulated action. But within all these activities, the important factor is self-realization. One who seeks that objective is the real student of Bhagavad Gita, but one who doubts the authority of Krishna falls back. One is therefore advised to study Bhagavad Gita or any other scripture under a bona fide spiritual master with service and surrender. A bona fide spiritual master is in his discipline succession from time eternal, and he does not deviate at all from the instructions of the Supreme Lord, as they were imparted millions of years ago to the Sun God, from whom the instructions of Bhagavad Gita have come down to the earthly kingdom.
One should therefore follow the path of Bhagavad Gita as it is expressed in the Gita itself, and beware of self-interested people after personal
Aggrandizement.
Okay.
They have their own agenda.
Who deviate others from the actual path. The Lord is definitely the Supreme Person, and his activities are transcendental. One who understands this is a liberated person from the very beginning of his study of Bhagavad Gita.
Very nice. Thank you, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Bhagavad Gita ki jai.